Hello, everyone, and welcome to Palmetto Sports Daily. And we've got you covered from all around the state here. Rick Henry in Columbia. We have Teagan Brown in Myrtle Beach, Ella Grogan in Greenville, and Kevin Bilodeau down in Charleston. We're going to kick things off talking some Gamecock football. Today, head coach Shane Beamer held a press conference to introduce his new special teams coordinator, Matthew Smiley. More on him later. But right off the bat, Shane wanted to address the injury to one of their top transfers, offensive lineman Jacarius Peak from North Carolina State. Highly touted young man, but he was injured over the weekend. Well, he was injured last week, and Shane confirmed that by playing in a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. It was something that the Gamecocks have been doing, well, for 3 years now. And over the weekend, Shane said it was a lower body injury. He didn't get any more specific on what type of injury today. He did say he's out for spring training. He will also not be ready to go during summer workouts, but they expect him to be ready when September rolls around. So does that mean he'll be ready to start the season or sometime in September? But Shane, he knows there's been a lot of criticism out there, especially on social media. Why would they play basketball? Well, here's Shane addressing that point.
The last 2 years when the videos went out on social media talking about how awesome it is that the Gamecocks and the football team have such a strong culture and they play basketball together, and that's awesome. You can't be the person that's celebrating it 2 years ago or the last 2 years, and then this year you're up on the front porch screaming, why are they playing basketball? I mean, I get it, and you open yourself up to criticism, but it's a big part of what we do here in this program. We'll continue to look at how we do things going forward. There's no question about it. I don't think we're the only football program in the country that has 18 to 21-year-old young men that play basketball in the off season.
Yeah, Shane is right. Those kids are going to play basketball. They take a lot of pride on who the best hoopers are on the team. And Kevin, when Bruce Ellington was at USC, he played basketball and football at the varsity level for the Gamecocks, and if he would have played with the football team against the basketball team, I think the football players may have won because there were some serious basketballers on that football squad.
Yeah, those guys were set up pretty solid, and Ellington was good either way, playing basketball or football. I would have to agree with Shane here. I mean, if he didn't get hurt playing basketball, it's not like he was going to be wrapped up in bubble wrap sitting in his dorm room for the majority of the offseason just waiting to go. He was going to be doing something physical, and chances are he was going to get hurt one way or the other, or someone was going to get hurt. So you just can't wrap these guys up and just expect them to do nothing in the offseason, Ella.
Yeah, Kevin, I was just going to say the exact same thing. I love that Shane kind of stood up for it here in this press conference because this could happen anywhere. You can't give him grief for getting out there, having fun. It's a team bonding exercise. It's something fun that they're doing together. I don't see anything wrong in it. Accidents are going to happen. The same thing could have happened with him just walking down the street. Could have rolled his ankle, who knows, but it's just unfortunate that it happened in that circumstance. But you can't blame him for having fun, and accidents happen, and hopefully he'll be good to go in the fall. Teagan?
Yeah, that was going to be exactly my point. I mean, he could have gotten injured in the weight room as they were doing workouts at this time of year. Just the fact that it was a basketball game, I think people are, trying to make it into something saying, oh, they shouldn't have been doing this. It's physical. Workouts are physical. These spring workouts that they're going to be doing on the field are physical. So, yeah, you hate to see it happen, but at the same time, you got to take that piece that Shane Beamer was talking about of creating culture. I think he's done a really good job trying to do that for this team, and I'm sure that they're trying to push that a little bit more this year, Rick, after the struggles that they had last year. I'm sure that a lot of the returners on that team probably, somewhere in that mindset have a little bit of negativity that this, staff is trying to get rid of as they go into a new season and try to get a more positive outcome here, Rick.
Yeah, like after the 2023 season, Shane asked the team, hey, what can we do to improve? And they mentioned the team bonding, and they also said it after the 2024 season. So, yeah, you got to do those type of things to build that camaraderie and that bonding. Okay, now, Matthew Smiley, USC's new special teams coordinator. He has NFL, college coaching experience. He spent 7-8 years with the Buffalo Bills, the last 3 years as their special teams coordinator. Last season, he was an analyst for Penn State. And he won the press conference before it even started because he comes into the interview room and he goes around the room, introduces himself to each media member, shakes our hand, and I go, wow, I've never seen that in all the introductory press conferences I've covered. And I asked him, what kind of mindset, what kind of mentality does a player need to have to be successful under his guidance on special teams?
First and foremost, every play matters. So on special teams, your ops are limited because you have more or you have less plays during the game, but then you also have plays that could be a touchback on kickoff or kickoff return that may not be an opportunity to flip the field. So when your chance to affect the game shows up, every play matters, and I'm always ready to make that play. So that mental toughness of the special teams players, that every time I take that field on a special teams play, this could be the play that flips the balance, that gives us a chance to win the game. But that has to be the mindset. There's no plays off. I got to make sure that I'm ready to be my best and compete whatever phase it is when I take the field for special teams.
Well, I love that attitude. That's what you got to have on special teams. It could be a block kick. You could run a kick back. So, yeah, come ready to play because it could be a game-deciding play on special teams. Kevin?
Yeah, there's probably no head coach in Division I right now who has special teams more deeply ingrained in his blood than Shane Beamer. So if he's putting his stamp of approval on this guy, you got to think this. Exactly. You got to think this is a good hire, and I'm going to trust Shane Beamer when it comes to special teams. And if he thinks this is the guy that's going to lead their special teams and that they're going to contribute to them winning more ball games, Teagan, then I'm taking his word for it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is always the phase of the game that I think the majority of fans don't tend to think about as much. You know, you think of the offense, you think of the defense. Special teams is just that phase that's not discussed as much. So, you know, hopefully this can be a little bit of a turnaround for South Carolina this year, kind of help them out, get more done in that phase of the game, Rick.
Yeah, you know, Shane Beamer, his dad, Frank Beamer, when he was at Virginia Tech, Beamer ball. That's where it started. You know, they were going to have top-notch special teams, and if you weren't ready to play against them every play on special teams, you were probably going to pay for it. All right, good opening segment here on Palmetto Sports Daily. Calling our first time out. We will be right back.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We move over to baseball and big news for the Atlanta Braves on and off the field earlier this morning. We start with off the field and the announcement that the Braves are starting their own brand new network. It's going to be called Braves Vision, and the organization pretty much taking over control of their local broadcast. It's something we're going to see all over the Southeast. It's going to be 6 states. They're going to have access to this. I believe the price I've been seeing is about $19.99 per month, and the Braves will put all of their local games, all of their regular season games, I should say, excluding the ones that are going to be nationally broadcast on either ESPN or NBC or Apple TV. All of those games are going to be available for fans to watch if they sign up for this streaming service. So that is a huge win. Pretty much the Braves just taking out the middleman that we've had for the last several decades, whether it's been Bally's or Peachtree TV or whoever's been broadcasting these games. It's going to be completely up to the organization now as far as the broadcast and the production and the distribution, and everything is going to be up to the Atlanta Braves. They're still going to have the association with Gray Television, so we're still going to have Braves games, a certain number of regular season games here on the Palmetto Sports and Entertainment Network, so that is a big deal for us. But huge news for the Braves that they're starting this Braves Vision, really kind of setting the tone for all teams. You know, for a lot of the, especially mid-market teams, this is a huge problem trying to get their own distribution set up, and the Braves kind of stepping up and showing what it means for them to be able to do this on their own. And as for on the field, the team signing a new deal with ace pitcher Chris Sale today, a 1-year extension that's going to keep him in for $28 million plus a team option for going forward. He was set to be a free agent after this year, so at least 1 more year, maybe 2 more years of Chris Sale coming up in Atlanta. Rick, both huge stories for the Braves. Which one do you think is bigger right now?
Wow. I think they're extremely huge. Well, first of all, I'll go with us here at WIS. I love the fact that we're going to get more Braves games because I think I've mentioned before on this show that going back to the 1960s when the Braves moved to Atlanta from Milwaukee, WIS was part of the, I guess, first Atlanta Braves network, and WIS would carry games on the weekend. So the fact that we're going to have more Braves games both on our main channel and our digital channel, that is huge. And Chris Sale, yeah, because the Braves are already starting off with some injuries to the pitching staff. So to get Chris Sale back, that's big for Atlanta. So hopefully they can bounce back and have a better season this year.
Yeah, I think that was a huge pickup for them to get the conductor back in action is going to be huge for them. I mean, to have the guy who was the fastest major league pitcher to reach 2,500 strikeouts, that's the type of guy that you want behind you. That's the type of guy that you want on the mound. 6'6", I'd be pretty intimidated looking at that guy. I mean, he is an incredible asset to this team. And Rick, like you mentioned, those injuries that are plaguing the pitching room could severely affect this team. So to see that extension, I think it's going to be big. And I like the idea of this Atlanta Braves Visions, excuse me if I'm getting that wrong, idea. I think my favorite broadcasts to watch are the ones where there's a personal connection to the state and it's people who have a tie to the team. So I'm assuming the people that are going to be commentating these games are going to be Atlanta locals who know their stuff and more than just a face that you see every Saturday or Sunday on whatever sports team that you are watching. So I think it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see how it all comes together. Teagan, what about you?
Yeah, I think it'll be really nice for fans, especially, here in South Carolina where there is no professional team. So, you've got to kind of find whoever you're cheering for outside of the state. Of course, we've got a ton of Braves fans here. And I really like that aspect that you talked about, the broadcasters, just kind of building that relationship with them, seeing people that are going to be there consistently and building these relationships with fans. So really exciting stuff for Braves fans and maybe some fans that will become fans of the Braves. Also in baseball, Coastal Carolina taking on Campbell today. If you're watching this, they're taking them on Tuesday. If you're watching them the next morning, then you already maybe know who won. I sadly can't see into the future. But Coastal Carolina dropping from number 6 to number 9 in the top 25 for D1 baseball. That's the highest they are in any of the polls. They're kind of all around when you look at other polls. They're number 16 in one. They're number 18 in another. There's one that they're not even in there, but I tend to think D1 baseball is kind of the most trustworthy one to pay attention to. But Coastal Carolina, at this point, as we're making this show, they still have not posted who is going to be on the mound to start against the Fighting Camels. Of course, Coastal Carolina has had some pitching question marks over the past week as we learned Cam Flukie was going to be out for a little bit due to a muscle strain. Dom Carbone is out for the season after getting UCL surgery. So they're still trying to figure that out. Coastal Carolina in that game against Illinois in game 1 of the doubleheader on Sunday gave up, I believe, somewhere around 12 runs in those first 2 innings. I can't do the math at the top of my head at the moment. But yeah, so definitely a little bit of a pitching struggle despite their 5-2 record. But Coastal Carolina taking on Campbell at 4 o'clock on Tuesday. We're going to take a quick break here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. We've got some Tuesday night basketball as Coastal Carolina, both teams play their penultimate matchup of the regular season. Both of these teams taking on Georgia State and both teams on the road. Let's start out with the women. It has not exactly been the season that they were hoping for, and they will not end the season in the green no matter what happens here in these last 2 games. They're 13-16 overall, 6-10 in conference play. So their last 2 games, they've got Georgia State, again, that's tonight on Tuesday, and then they've got JMU on Friday. Now, Georgia State is one of the 4 teams in the Sun Belt standings that sit below Coastal Carolina right now, and these teams have played this season already. Coastal Carolina lost to them earlier in the season, so the ladies looking for a bounce-back win. As for men's basketball, they're 17-12 on the season, and I was saying yesterday this This is the best season they've had in about 5 years at this point, so they're going to end in the green no matter what happens in these last 2 games. As for conference play, they are 9-7 in the Sun Belt, so they could either end in the green or they'll end even at 9-9, even if they lose these last 2 games. But going up against Georgia State tonight, this is a team they've lost to already. In fact, it was tied for their worst Sun Belt loss of the season. It was an 18-point loss. The other team they lost to by that many points was App State. But the second time Coastal Carolina played App State this season, they got redemption. They got that win against the Mountaineers, so they're kind of looking to repeat this history here again. Coastal Carolina also, like the women, ending the regular season against JMU. That is another team that they lost to, so Coastal Carolina really looking for some redemption to end the season before that Sun Belt tournament, and they could have the chance to grab a top 4 seed in that tournament. They could even get the top seed, which I'm sure would have surprised a lot of Teal Nation if you told them that at the end of last year that this was going to happen this year. So lots of positivity for the men as they head in to the end of the season, and the women really looking to just end on a good note before tournament play. Rick, I know that the Gamecocks have got some action tonight too.
Yeah, the Gamecock men taking on Kentucky at 7 o'clock, and normally South Carolina team that has a losing record playing against the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky would be an overwhelming favorite, but it's a different Kentucky team. They're coming in with, I believe, 17 wins. They've lost their last 3. South Carolina coming off their best game of the season. They've got their first victory in 32 days Saturday when they beat Mississippi State. They were 12 of 24 on threes, only 6 turnovers. So if they can replicate that against Kentucky, maybe they can pull off the upset. But, yeah, so the Gamecocks have a chance to put together a winning streak. Well, that's big for them. All right. I believe that's going to wrap it up for this segment. We'll be right back to talk about some golf, some Clemson golf.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We're closing this episode out with some great news, some exciting news for the Clemson community. Jacob Bridgman, former Clemson golf player, now playing in the PGA, just won his first tournament, and this one was a special one. So he entered the final round of the 100th Genesis Invitational in California with a 6-stroke lead. That shrunk down to just 1 stroke by the final hole, but that was all water under the bridge when Bridgman made a 3.5-footer to beat Rory McIlroy by just 1 shot, beating a field with 18 of the top 20 golfers in the world for his first win since the ACC tournament in 2022. Just the 8th Clemson champion of the PGA Tour, saying his first pro title will change his life forever. And to celebrate, getting some congrats from fellow Tigers legends as well. Check it out.
Say congratulations on the big win, the Genesis. I've been watching all day today as much as I could and been following you. It's been a lot of fun watching you all weekend, and congrats on such a big win. You're playing awesome. Been really fun to watch. Can't wait to watch you the rest of the season, and when you go out there and play some golf soon. It won't be as fun to watch me play as it is to watch you, but we'd have a great time. But congrats, man. I'll be rooting for you the rest of the way. Keep killing it.
That's sick.
Hey, Jacob. It's Coach Sweeney. Hey, man, super proud of you. Just want to say congratulations. Everybody that's been following you knew this day was going to come, but today is the day. So this is a great win, your first win on the PGA Tour and the first of many more to come. So congrats again. Enjoy the moment, and then let's get back to work next week. God bless you, and go Tigers.
That's awesome.
Just some thoughts on seeing those 2 messages.
Yeah, Trevor and I were the same age at Clemson, but he was so famous before he even got to school that he couldn't really hang out with anybody. And I met him a few times, talked to him. He's a super nice guy. I've been a fan of his since his whole NFL career. I'm so glad that he had an amazing season this past year and almost won an MVP. So super nice guy. I'm glad he was watching, and that's super special that he sent that. And Dabo has been probably the most important guy in Clemson history the last 20 years or so. amazing man. He would show up to the golf facility all the time, just run by, talk to the guys, ask for a couple tips on his chipping, and scoot on by. So very, very nice guy. I'm glad that they're supportive of me. That means a lot.
Gotta love that Clemson camaraderie. Just so cool to see them come together and support him in such a big moment. That was the most money ever for a Tiger to win from a tournament. $4 million. A pretty penny for him and a great celebration. Him and his wife, also a Clemson grad, just got married. So they can use those $4 million to maybe go have a good honeymoon, celebrate this big win, guys.
Yeah, hey, good for him. I think that Clemson golf program is underrated. They have a national championship, I know at least one, and then they have guys like Lucas Glover, who, former U.S. Open champion, Jonathan Byrd. In fact, a few years ago, Jonathan Byrd and Lucas, they met in a playoff to win the tournament in Charlotte, the Wells Fargo tournament. So, yeah, got to give it up to Clemson for producing some mighty good golfers.
Yeah, and maybe the biggest thing about this win is now he punches his ticket to play in Augusta. He gets to go to the Masters and take part in that. And Teagan, that's pretty much the goal of every golfer at this time of the year, is to make sure you're going to be having a chance to put on the green jacket.
Oh, yeah, and for all we know, it could be a guy who wore orange wearing the green jacket pretty soon. So that's going to wrap it up for today's show for Palmetto Sports Daily, but we'll see you back here tomorrow.